and a big bad wolf, a bad wolf, view to kill microchips. Zorin. The beginning of the movie says that this is not a real person, it's a warning. It's interesting because it seems to match up to a lot of real people, or a combination of real people. I was blown away watching A View to a Kill. It cracked me up. Definitely one of the overlooked Bond movies, which has a lot of predictive programming, as all the Bond movies do. Christopher Walken plays Max Zorin, a French, German, Frankish German, Frank, who runs Zorin Industries. He owns a giant Rothschild-like palace in France, and we figure out that he is also a Soviet super soldier. So, interestingly, the British intelligence aspect of this James Bond film is placing upon the Soviets the very things that the West were doing, experimenting with troops, utilizing genetic modification. We discovered that, in fact, Max Zorin is genetically modifying his horses with some... Christopher Walken's pimp cane has a button by which he injects horse steroids, green horse fluids. Something to do with genetically enhancing the horsies. This is an anti-communist movie in a sense. It's sort of at the edge there of the end of the Cold War. So we had to picture Max Zorin as a secret Soviet genetic modification experiment. And who are the Soviets working with? Well, there's the character who is the paperclip scientist. Now, it's interesting because actually the Soviets and the U.S. got some of the Nazi scientists after World War II. So there were Operation Paperclip was useful to both the East and the West. Of course, that's where NASA comes from, if you don't know, Werner von Braun, etc. But here, it's the Soviets that are utilizing the genetic modification experiments to create transhumanism, essentially. We have references to Mayday. That's the name of the Grace Jones character. If you don't remember Grace Jones, she's this. Grace Jones was also the sidekick in Conan, where Arnold worships crime. Now, Grace Jones's character, Mayday, is interesting because Mayday is, of course, the Soviet day. Yes, Illuminati Day. That's Mayday. 1776, May 1st. That's International Communism Day. It's also the Adam Weishaupt Day. Now, that's not accidental. They're definitely trying to put onto Soviets and the KGB the Max Zorin character as the nefarious one who wants to destroy Silicon Valley and then take over. All these genetic modification tests lead to the exposure of Zorin having his hands in multiple things. He's kind of like Mark Zuckerberg meets Elon meets, I don't know, Richard Branson maybe. It's a strange mix, and he's an East German immigrant. But he's also under Soviet mind control handlers. However, he breaks this handling, turns against the Soviets, and decides he wants to become a tech elite zillionaire. Tech elite zillionaire. Zuckerbucker. He's a Zuckerbucker. Max Zorin? Zorkenberg? One of the things I found fascinating was that when Roger Moore shows up to the palace, Max Zorin has facial recognition scanning technology and the internet back in the 1980s. I think this is 85, right? Pretty fascinating. We've seen a few instances of this, right? We've seen it with Running Man, with Arnold. The internet's there, the Infonet. And we see examples of the Infonet in Airwolf, episodes of Airwolf. What's amazing is that the genetic modification in this film is not unrelated to microchips. So Zorin is simply trying to corner the market on microchips, and he's going to use an earthquake weapon to flood and wipe out Silicon Valley. That sounds a little Looney Tunes, which it is, but the key thing to point out here is that the themes present in the film are real things. That Silicon Valley actually is connected to genetic modification. Right? Facebook, a couple years ago, there were stories about them storing women's eggs. Why does Facebook need to store eggs? Cloning, perhaps? That's really where this is going. In the film, it's genetically modified super soldiers. Grace Jones, Mayday, has super strength. Max Zorin has genetically modified super IQ. Super IQ, very high, very, very high. And we learn that it's the alchemy that unites both of these ideas, both Silicon Valley with the microchips cornering that market, taking the future into this tech transhumanist dystopia, as well as emerging out of the World War II experimentation and super soldier techniques. All very real. Super soldier. Why me super soldier? Why me raw? Why me super soldier? How? Earthquake weapons, EMF, ELF, stuff we've covered for many years. Also covered in Esoteric Hollywood 2. Whole chapter on that if you get my book, Weather Weapons. Another theme that you see here present in all the 80s movies too is the 80s cute robot. Why were they pushing the robots so heavy in the 80s movies? Well, I think they wanted us to get ready for the robot future. And it's not accidental that this is the Silicon Valley Bond film, pushing the robots. The robots are surveilling, they're rolling around, watching Bond, boinking, of course. And now everyone has Alexa in their house watching the boinking. It's crazy. Quite literally, Alexa and the little vacuum robot. Does the little vacuum robot watch you hump? I don't know. Probably. Vacuum robots that are pervy. Very pervy. Thank you for watching this. This is my brief breakdown, the funny elements that I noticed in A View to a Kill. To a Kill. Great Duran Duran song, by the way. If you haven't watched View to a Kill, go back and watch it. It's a lot of fun. I had to work on my Christopher Walken impersonation. It's getting there. But thank you for watching. Subscribe to Jay's Analysis, jaysanalysis.com. You can get signed copies of my books. And also, we have the memberships now. If you want to join Jay's Analysis, you can click on the memberships below and get access to all the archives. Or you can subscribe to Jay's Analysis for all the archives. For all the archives. And you can subscribe for the archives.